This video lesson is about how to use the force commit property for non-idempotent activities in Oracle BPM 12c. In order to explain this, I'll walk you through a part of an order processing BPM process. I have an async process here. In this part of the process, I have three activities: process payment, get shipping address, and process shipping. Let's see what happens when one of these services fails. Consider a scenario where the process payment activity succeeds. The get shipping address activity succeeds as well, but the process shipping activity fails. Now, the nice thing about BPM is that it lets you recover failed processes. So after you fix the issue with the process shipping service, you can log into Enterprise Manager and recover the instance. As a part of the recovery, the BPM engine retries the service that failed. It's easy to assume that the BPM engine just retries the activity that fails and continues on from there. But there's a small trick to make that happen properly. To do the recovery, BPM needs to keep track of where it is in the process so that it can pick up from where it stopped. It keeps track of this by committing the state of the activity and the BPM instance in the SOA infra database. This process is also called dehydration. You may think that it does this as soon as each activity completes, but it doesn't exactly work that way, at least by default. There is a performance cost to doing this after each activity. So the BPM engine does it only at certain points, like a receive activity or a timer activity. This is not an exhaustive list, but the point to remember is that it does not really write the process state to the database after each activity by default. So what is the impact of this default behavior on the recovery? In our example, when the shipping service errors out and you try to recover it, by default it will actually re-execute the process payment and the get shipping address activities before it re-executes the process shipping activity, instead of re-executing just the process shipping activity. This is because it never saved the state in the SOA infra database that the process payment and the get shipping address were already done. Now, re-executing the get shipping address multiple times is not an issue. It will give us the same result every time. There is no adverse impact from multiple executions. This type of a service is called an idempotent service. On the other hand, re-executing the process payment multiple times would cause our customers to be very unhappy. Every time it executes, the credit card will keep getting charged. This type of service that gives a different result every time it executes, or has an adverse impact if executed multiple times, is called a non-idempotent service. So how do you solve this problem? We have to somehow tell the BPM engine to dehydrate the process state after non-idempotent activities. For non-idempotent activities, check the force commit property. This explicitly tells the BPM engine to save the process state after the activity. In our example, after you have set the force commit to true for the process payment activity, when you recover an instance, it will not re-execute the process payment activity.